One man, one murloc, one giant angry badger. This is Blue Please. It begins now. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Blue Please right here on cynicalbrit.com with myself, Total Biscuit. Or should I say Red Please, because the darkened skies were stained with the fire of a very, very pissed off dragon. And of course, the air was clogged with the tears of crying noobs as they're incinerated by Deathwing, and it is a wonderful, wonderful sight. I love the smell of roasted scrublet in the morning. Scrublet, ladies and gentlemen, one of those stupid words made up by L'Oreal. Oh, metamorphose. Morphose, that's not even a real word. Scrublet. Million eyes. Oh, why is it that these stupid makeup companies have to... Hey, there you go. Look, revelation. Makeup companies make stuff up. Unbelievable. They make up words, and in fact, it is infuriating. Sadly, for some inexplicable reason, L'Oreal seems to believe that my demographic is absolutely perfect to market freaking makeup to. I cannot imagine why, but every now and again you will see a makeup video. Let's see, what's the current ad on my Section 8? Yes, Diane Kruger is telling me about L'Oreal Metamorphose, which is apparently the souffle sensation. Because everybody knows that all a woman really wants is the ability to rub cake on her face. My name is Total Biscuit, you're listening to Blue Please. It is 3 minutes past 8 in the British Isles. It is 3 minutes past 9 Central European Time, and it's 3 minutes past 3 on the east coast of the United States. Yeah. That it is. That it is. What have I got coming up for you in the show today? Incidentally, if you're wondering how long it took for me to come up with that joke, it's sort of been festering for about a week and a half. Seriously. I went through the proto stages of developing said joke by using some similar remark on Twitter. But then finally, once the joke had fermented and started to smell and had generated some kind of alcoholic content, I was able to unleash it upon the masses. Speaking of alcohol, I do have some amazing Russian Standard Gold here. Or indeed, as it's described on my Twitter, as Troll Standard, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Troll Standard, an amazing gift given to me by one of the fans when I was down at the Cataclysm launch party. Probably one of the best gifts I've ever actually been given. Think frickin' rules. Absolutely fantastic. I posted a picture for you right here on the IRC channel, which if you're not already in, you should be. irc.quakenet.org, # Cynical Brit. It's the place to get in there. Or alternatively, if you so desire, you can use a web client. Yes, webchat.quakenet.org, I think, works. I might be wrong there. Yep, webchat.quakenet.org. That is the place to go. Freaking awesome stuff. I'll post it in the show notes for those of you unfortunate enough to be listening to the podcast instead. Oh well. What's coming up in the show today? I'm going to talk to you about somebody who's very, very upset. Yes. They're so very, very upset. Why are they upset, ladies and gentlemen? I can only get blues from 5-mans? No! Yes. Your tears, so delicious, so sweet, so very, very cold. Also, rating. 11 out of 12 bosses down thus far. Some people screaming it's the same as Wrath. Why it isn't. Coming up for you later on in the show. Also, rediscovering the joy of questing. Yes, rediscovering the joy of questing. Why I'm actually enjoying questing now. For the first time in... Oh yes, that would be ever. Going through Mount Hyjal, I'll tell you about my experiences and all of the fun stuff that's been going on there. And yes, I think it's probably time that we do bring out the old win bag, the old feature we used to use before the Cataclysm Q&A. It's the illusion of choice! You get to pick the last topic of the show. Email in themurloc@gmail.com. That is themurloc@gmail.com. That's the place you need to go. Email it. Don't email mailbox@cynicalbrit.com. That's for Azeroth Daily, and it only gets read for Azeroth Daily. That I can guarantee. So, a couple of things I want to talk about before we go into the mailbag. We delve deeply into the mailbag. And what I have to say is, firstly, thank you to everyone that came out for the launch event down in London. It was pretty cool, honestly. I learned a few things. One, Indigo Pearl don't seem to have any clue who anybody is, so I snuck past the event organizer, because, Ghostcrawler and Fargo were there, and they were really, really busy. They had interviews with really important sites like IGN. Yeah, IGN, that site nobody actually takes seriously unless they're 12 years old. Those guys. And a few other people. So I wasn't able to get an interview, or was I? So I snuck past a guy in a top hat that was not quite as good as mine. He was dazzled by how amazing my top hat was. Indeed, there were quite a few people down there in top hats. They had a Gilnean theme going on. A couple of guys outside with sandwich boards saying the end is nigh. The guy at the event organizer was a rather rude individual, whose name I did not get, but his top hat was inferior to mine. Indeed, I think he felt emasculated by the presence of my top hat. My top hat was the best one on the scene, that I can guarantee. Envy. Glittering green envy in his eyes. I snuck past him, and I spoke to Ghostcrawler, and I spoke to Fargo, and Ghostcrawler's eyes lit up in recognition when I said who I was. Fargo already knew who I was as soon as I opened my mouth, because of course I interviewed Fargo a little while ago on Blue Please. He spent like a bunch of the show actually doing the show with me, so yeah, Fargo knew who I was, which was awesome. Had a chat to him, but the PR person from Indigo Pearl had no idea who I was, or indeed didn't seem to have any idea who anybody was, more to the point. Sort of floating around, so who are you? CynicalBrit.com, YouTube.com/Total Halibut. Yeah, that would be the guys that gave you 58 million views. That would be the biggest promoter of WoW Cataclysm on the entire internet. That guy. Yeah, you might want to know who that guy is. And that might sound a little bit arrogant, but generally speaking, that's what PR companies are actually for. They're supposed to liaise with promoters, particularly ones that have more clout than IGN, which would be most of them. Anyway, that was pretty fun anyway. It was awesome, honestly. They're both really, really awesome, cool guys. Big fan of that. But I did like to meet the guys in the queue, actually. The press event was a total waste of time. Absolute, complete, and total waste of time. So, the press event involved us standing around, getting, I would say drunk, but they only offered two kinds of drink. They offered Kronenberg 1664, and they offered this horrible pink rum cocktail thing. Yeah. A little bit of a waste of time, honestly. Wasn't a huge fan of that. And apparently that's all press events are. I was not aware of this. This is one of the first press events I've gone to. It's people standing around, farting around, exchanging business cards, and doing absolutely nothing. Indeed, it comes to the point where you find out that most of the people in the room don't even play WoW. So you have to ask, what the hell are you even doing here? I have to imagine that they're sort of like the Paris Hiltons of the gaming world. Indeed, I did meet someone who did play WoW there, and ironically enough, that person was there representing Playboy magazine. The people you thought would be there, actually interested in WoW and stuff like that, they didn't care. Like, PC Gamer, oh, I don't play that game. Oh, there's people like that. Eurogamer was there, I think. And, they weren't interested in it either. But I have the business card of one of the producers from Playboy magazine, who is apparently a huge fan of Blue Please. So, thank you. Thank you very much for that. So yeah, he listens to Blue Please. He knows who he is, so big shout out to him. Oh, yeah. That was awesome. And it was really fun to meet the people in the queue. And actually, what I would like to say is, and this is sort of in response to the whole Panorama program that went on the same day as this, a very cynically timed Panorama program, I would say discussing addiction, but in reality it wasn't discussing addiction at all. It was claiming that addiction existed and indeed press-ganging people into believing so. Indeed, most of their evidence for it seemed to be, well, this person, and by person I mean this teenager, who is clearly an introvert, clearly has some issues, certainly, claims to be addicted to World of Warcraft. Ergo, they must be addicted to World of Warcraft. And indeed, the producer of the program went as far afterwards to say that the games industry was being too defensive, and said that they should admit the potential for addiction. What? That's not how proof works! Don't be ridiculous! The burden of proof is on the accuser! I'm going against all the established medical evidence that says the games are not in fact addictive, and the proof of that I merely reference to the fact that there is no medical diagnosis for such a thing. It is not part of any of the well-respected and standard textbooks. It doesn't exist as an actual condition. I'm flying in the face of all of that, and I have the cheek to say the games industry is being too defensive, and they should admit the potential for addiction. Well, I guess in the meantime, I should admit the potential that I am in fact a 5-armed alien from the planet Zod, here to eat your brains. I need to admit that potential. God. Reminds me of the whole Obama accusations, like, why won't you admit the potential that you are in fact a secret Muslim? Because the burden of proof is on the accuser. Why won't you admit the potential that you're a 5-armed alien? Well, I can think of a few reasons. It's absolute nonsense. And you know what? I'll tell you this. The people that I met in the queue for that, and, you know, there were hundreds and hundreds of people down there. It was huge, all the way around Leicester Square. Massive queue of people, all really jovial, really happy, talking to each other, interacting like normal human beings, being really awesome. You know, every guy I met there, aside from the guy that tried to stab me, bloody Irishman, aside from that guy, we can, you know, he wasn't a WoW player, so aside from the guy that threatened to knife me and my friends and everybody else in the queue, they were all amazing. They were really, really great. Normal individuals who came out to have a good time and to socialize over their hobby, which is what hobbies are all about. I would like to cite certain other things that people like to group around, people like to form clubs around. We can start with golf. So golf addiction, big problem I've heard in the upper classes there. Massive problem, they need to go to treatment for that. And of course, golf is a game, so that's nothing like World of Warcraft, which is also a game. And of course, people don't group together to play golf, like, I don't know, people playing in guilds, maybe. And they don't spend long hours playing golf. Indeed, they don't rearrange their life schedules and work schedules to play golf, kind of like raiding. No, they don't do any of that. Absolutely not. So I think the only difference, actually, between golf and between World of Warcraft is that golf players have a poorer sense of fashion. That's really all there is to it. You know, I see people spending thousands of dollars on golf clubs, and then people claim that I'm an addict for spending $100 on a gaming mouse. It's so stupid. The people I met there were completely normal individuals, and of course, why wouldn't they be? Tell me that. Why wouldn't they be? WoW is a hobby like any other. And you know what? It can be overindulged in like any other. But do other hobbies get this kind of nonsense? No. Sorry guys, I'm addicted to building ships in bottles. I can't do anything about it. Please, please help me. It's nonsense like this that enables incredibly sensationalist arguments, and it enables weak-willed people to slump into this idea of addiction. It's so absurd. Because that's actually more harmful than any addictive elements that are even present, assuming they're even there. I said this to the guy from Playboy, by the way, and he was in agreement with me. He was a bit drunk, that was probably why, but needless to say, he was in agreement to me. Will you explain exactly just how important it is for Blizzard to create an addictive game that people spend long, long hours on? Because that, ladies and gentlemen, is bad business sense. If everyone played WoW 24/7, the servers would crash. They would have to hire 5 or 6 times as many customer service agents. Their actual costs would go through the roof, and yet you pay the same cost every month. The ideal player for Blizzard is someone who subscribes and barely ever plays. Hell, we got 300 odd people on for the Troll Fest, and it crashed the server on no less than 3 occasions. We were told to leave. What would happen if these addicts flooded the servers and played 24/7? It is entirely contrary to good business sense, and indeed the very architecture which WoW is built on to create an addictive game. It is stupid. You would never, ever want to do that. Assuming it's even possible. You know, that day made me very, very sad that for the longest time I've been such an ardent supporter of the BBC. To me, they have been the idol and the reference and the gold standard that I've based all of my work on up to this point. For the last 10 or 11 years, I have aspired to get to that level of broadcasting. And on that day, I saw the true face of what it is. Sensationalist tripe and garbage. R.I.P. BBC. I'll do the mailbag after this, folks. Machinized supremacy, you say? Something a little bit older, maybe? Some attack music? Enjoy.